I used to believe my marriage was solid, not perfect, but real. Jason was the kind of man who looked dependable, fit, charming, always smiling at the neighbors. People loved him, and I worked hard, built my own company, and thought I had a partner I could trust. But that belief shattered the day I found the panties. I was cleaning out his car, the Cayenne I'd bought him for his birthday. Between the passenger seat and the console, there it was, black lace. Tiny, nothing I would ever wear. My first reaction was denial. I told myself, maybe they're mine and I forgot, but deep down, I knew. Jason had been giving our neighbor Grace a ride for weeks. Grace, the sweet single mom from 2 houses down. He always made it sound noble. She's got no car, it's just a ride to work. Don't make it into something it's not, right? Just a ride, with panties left behind. That night, I logged into the monitoring system connected to his car, the same system my company installed for clients. He didn't realize I had full access, video, audio, everything. And what I heard made me colder than ice. Grace's voice, soft, needy. Jason, between her and me, who do you really want? Jason's voice, low and rough. Of course it's you. I didn't cry, I didn't scream. I just sat there, earbuds in, watching the man I married betray me in real time. And then, instead of hiding it, I hit share. I posted the live feed to our neighborhood Facebook group. The caption, shared car, bonus neighbor included, first come, first served. Within seconds, comments started blowing up. Wait, is that Jason's car? Oh my God, is this for real? Somebody record this before it's deleted. I leaned back on the couch, almost calm, imagining Jason's face when he saw the group chat. And right on cue, not 10 minutes later, I heard the front door slam. Jason walked in, reeking of cheap perfume, eyes wide with fake outrage. Emily, what the hell did you just post? His voice cracked with anger, like I was the one humiliating him. I looked up at him, steady, almost bored. You tell me, Jason? What do you think I posted? Jason threw his gym bag down and came at me, eyes blazing. Do you realize what you've done? You embarrassed me in front of the whole neighborhood. You posted my car like I'm some kind of cheater. I said flatly. His face twisted, but he didn't admit it. He grabbed my arm, trying to sound wounded instead of guilty. Emily, I was just being nice to Grace. She's a single mom. She's struggling. You know that. Why are you always so suspicious? You're making me out to be some monster. I shook off his hand. I heard you, Jason. I heard every word. Don't stand there and tell me I imagined it. But he was good, too good. His voice softened. His shoulders sagged like he was the victim. She's lonely, I was just helping. And you, he let out a bitter laugh. You're so stressed from work. You're not thinking straight anymore. Everyone sees it. You're paranoid. You twist things in your head. I've covered for you so many times. Covered for me? My stomach flipped. And then I realized he'd already posted his own story in the group. He'd written this long message about how I was under too much pressure, how my mental state wasn't stable, how I'd misunderstood. Within minutes, the comments started rolling in. Jason's such a good guy, always helping people. Poor man, married to a jealous wife. Emily works too much. No wonder she thinks crazy things. The script flipped. Just like that. He was the selfless husband. I was the unstable wife. I wanted to laugh, but before I could, the doorbell rang loud non-stop. Like an alarm, Jason's parents stormed in. They lived a few blocks away, and of course he'd called them. Emily, his mother shrieked the second she saw me. Are you trying to ruin my son's life? Do you have any idea what people are saying in the neighborhood right now? His father glared at me with pure disappointment. This is disgraceful. You've dragged our family name through the mud. I hadn't even opened my mouth when Jason jumped in, eyes shining with fake tears. Don't be mad at her, Mom, Dad. She doesn't mean it. She's been so stressed. I tried to explain to her that helping Grace was nothing. But she won't believe me. It's my fault. I should have handled it better. That was all it took. His mother's fury doubled. She turned on me, pointing a shaking finger at my face. Do you hear that? Look how kind my son is. Always defending you. And what do? Humiliate him? Break up this family? You're nothing but a selfish, bitter woman. You can't even give us a grandchild, and now you're trying to destroy him too. The words hit me like a slap. Can't even give us a grandchild. For a second, my vision blurred, but I refused to let them see me break. Jason stood there, soaking in their sympathy, looking like the noble husband married to a madwoman. His father shook his head. His mother raised her voice again. And all I could do was stare at them. This family I had supported financially for years, these people living in a house I'd bought, now tearing me apart in my own living room. And just when the shouting reached its peak, the doorbell rang again. When I opened it, there stood Grace, hair damp, eyes red, her little girl clutching her hand. She looked like she'd been rehearsing for a soap opera. "Jason," she whispered, her voice trembling, "I saw the posts. I came to clear things up, please. Don't be mad at Emily. It's all my fault. I never should have asked you for help." Her daughter peeked out from behind her, tiny voice soft but sharp enough to cut through the noise. "Daddy?" The whole room froze, silence. You could have heard a pin drop. Grace froze, her hand clamped over her daughter's mouth. "I'm so sorry," she stammered. "She's little. She doesn't know what she's saying. She hears me talk about Jason. That's all, please. Don't take it the wrong way." But the damage was already done. That one word "daddy" hung in the air like a bomb. My chest tightened. I looked at Jason, waiting for him to deny it, to correct the child, to say something. But his face was blank, just a flicker of panic in his eyes before he slipped back into his practice role. The misunderstood good guy. I felt myself slipping into memory, back when we first met. I was already a regional manager, living on coffee and late nights at the office. He was the new trainer at the high-end gym downstairs. He wasn't slick like the men I usually met. He was awkward, earnest. He'd show up in my office with homemade soup after I'd worked 12 hours straight. He'd drive across town just to bring me dinner. He'd tell me, "Money isn't everything. You've gotta slow down. I care about you more than any job." I believed him. I fell for him hard, so hard that I bought him a car, bought his parents a house, opened every door for him. Because I thought he gave me something money couldn't buy, love that felt real. But love doesn't leave panties in the car. Love doesn't let a little girl call another man daddy. I snapped back to the room. Grace's eyes were watery, her daughter hiding against her side. Jason's parents glared at me like I was the villain. And Jason just stood there, helpless and noble, like this was all some tragic misunderstanding. They were waiting for me to explode, to scream, throw things, prove I was the crazy wife Jason had painted me to be. Instead, I smiled. I walked over, slipped my arm around Grace's trembling shoulders. "It's okay," I said sweetly. "Really? It's just a misunderstanding. I've been too sensitive. I'm sorry." Grace blinked, startled. Jason's mom exhaled like she'd just won a war. His dad nodded in approval. Jason relaxed, sliding into the role of the forgiving husband. "See? That's all I wanted," he murmured, wrapping his arm around me. His voice was soft, almost patronizing. "I know you've been struggling since the miscarriage. I don't blame you." The words cut deep, but I forced myself to nod. "You're right. It's my fault." And then, while they basked in their little victory, I kept my real plan tucked close to my chest. They thought I'd surrendered. They thought I was broken. But I wasn't, not anymore. That night, when the house was quiet and Jason had fallen asleep in the guest room because he hadn't shared a bed with me in months, I slipped his phone from the nightstand. His thumbprints still worked. Messages with Grace gone, notifications, silence, but he'd missed a few things: screenshots, transfers, comments he hadn't deleted fast enough to confirm what I already knew. I saved everything. Then I logged into the car system again, upgraded it, video, audio, cloud backup, live streaming. The next time they got into that Cayenne together, the whole world would see who Jason really was. The next morning, Jason left the house humming, like he didn't have a care in the world. He even kissed the air in my direction, like nothing had happened the night before. I stood at the window, coffee in hand, watching him drive off in the Cayenne. A few taps on my phone, and the live feed from the car filled my screen. High-def video, crystal clear audio. He picked up Grace on the corner. She was dressed up, hair done, perfume heavy enough that I swore I could smell it through the screen. She slid into the passenger seat and kissed him like she'd been doing it forever. "Jason," she laughed, "I knew she couldn't live without you." He grinned, one hand already on her thigh. "She's easy to handle. She still feels guilty about the miscarriage. I say the right words. She melts. Give me a few more months, and she'll transfer that downtown condo into my name. Once that's done, I'll drop the act." Grace giggled, punching his arm lightly. "You're awful. But I love it. And then we won't have to sneak around anymore." They went shopping, dining, spending on my credit card without a blink. Later, they picked up Grace's little girl from school. The girl hopped into the back seat, eyes shining. "Daddy, Mommy says once you leave that other lady, we'll get a big house. Jason caught her eyes in the rearview mirror, all soft and proud. That's right, sweetheart. As soon as I get her money, we'll be a real family. Grace reached over, laced her fingers with his, and kissed his cheek. They looked like the picture of happiness, except it was my life, my money, my trust they were cashing in on. I shut off the feed before I gagged. That evening, when Jason pulled into the underground garage, I sent the live link straight into the neighborhood Facebook group. The caption I wrote was short, sharp, impossible to ignore. Experience the thrill. Live from spot C13. Jason Miller's Cayenne. I let it sit for a full minute before deleting it, just long enough for curious neighbors to click, record, and spread it like wildfire. And spread it did. Within minutes, the group chat was on fire. Holy crap, is that Jason's SUV? You guys, I'm watching this unreal. It's him. And that's Grace. No way. Someone screen record this. People were whispering, laughing, gossiping, and then they started walking out of their houses, down to the garage, heading straight for C13. I switched the feed back on. Jason and Grace were still in their own little bubble, too wrapped up in each other to notice the crowd gathering. They had no idea that their private little world was about to explode into a public circus. By the time Jason's Cayenne started rocking in that far corner of the garage, half the neighborhood had gathered. People stood in clusters, whispering, laughing, phones held up like it was some kind of live show. I could picture it, dozens of eyes fixed on that car, watching the tinted windows shake, hearing muffled noises through the metal and glass. Curiosity had turned into a full-blown spectacle. Then I heard it, the sharp, furious voice of Jason's mother cutting through the crowd. Move, all of you, move away. She shoved her way to the front, his father trailing behind, both of them red-faced and panicked. What are you all staring at? Go home, she screeched, pounding her fists on the hood of the Cayenne. Inside, the movement stopped. Silence. Then, after a few seconds, the driver's door opened, and there was Jason, hair messy, shirt half off, eyes wide as the flashlights from. I smiled, not warm, not kind, just sharp enough to cut. They wanted an audience. Now they have one. Jason's eyes darted around, landing on all the phones pointed at him. In an instant, his face crumpled. He dropped to his knees on the concrete, hands spread wide like some tragic movie hero. Don't believe her, he shouted, his voice cracking. This woman is controlling, paranoid. She's been destroying me for years. She doesn't let me breathe, doesn't let me talk to anyone. I was only helping Grace because she's a single mom, that's all. And now Emily wants to ruin me. His words echoed off the garage walls, raw and desperate. I felt the crowd shift. Whispers rippled through the neighbors. Maybe he's right. She is pretty intense. The poor guy must be tough living with someone like her. Right on cue, Grace sank to her knees too. Crawling toward me with trembling hands, Daniel stepped between us, blocking her. But she still put on the show. Emily, please, she sobbed, tears streaking down her face. Don't blame Jason, blame me. I shouldn't have leaned on him. I shouldn't have let him help me so much. He loves you, not me. Don't punish him for my mistakes. The picture was perfect. The noble husband begging, the fragile neighbor weeping, both of them on the ground while I stood above them. I could feel the weight of the crowd's stares. Some pitied them, others judged me. A few clucked their tongues, muttering about how a wife should be gentler, how no man could survive a marriage this harsh. Jason's mother pounced on that, pointing straight at me. See what I mean? My son has suffered long enough. What man wouldn't break under a wife like this? I didn't move, didn't raise my voice. Just let them talk, because I knew what was coming next. I had proof. Their own words, their own plans, their own filthy schemes recorded, saved, undeniable. All I had to do was wait for the right moment. I lifted my hand. Daniel understood immediately. He pulled a small speaker from his bag, synced it with my phone, and pressed play. The garage filled with voices, familiar voices. Grace, soft and syrupy. Jason, your wife's just a machine who makes money. She'll never understand you the way I do. Jason, laughing low. She feels guilty after the miscarriage. She'll do anything I say. Give it a few more months. Once she signs over the downtown condo, I'll dump her, the car, the money, the house. It'll all be ours. And then, the one voice that made the crowd gasp, Grace's little girl. Daddy, Mommy says when you leave that lady, we'll live in a big house. Jason's voice, smug, certain. Soon, sweetheart, as soon as I take her money, we'll be a real family. The words echoed like gunshots. The neighbors who had been murmuring sympathy seconds ago went dead quiet. Then the tide turned. "You hear that? He was planning to steal from her," someone shouted. What a lowlife, using his own wife's grief to manipulate her, and her teaching a kid to call another man daddy. Disgusting. Jason's mother tried to scream over them, pointing at me. "This is illegal. She planted bugs in his car. She's the criminal here." But another neighbor shot back, loud and sharp. "Illegal? What about your son plotting to scam his own wife? That's fraud. That's theft. You should be ashamed of yourselves." One by one, voices piled on, the garage filling with condemnation. The same people who had doubted me now glared at Jason like he was something they'd scraped off their shoes. Jason's face drained of color. Grace crumpled to the floor, whispering no, no, no over and over. His parents looked like they wanted the concrete to swallow them whole. I stepped forward, calm, steady. "This," I said, my voice carrying in the silence that followed, "is the man I married, and this is the woman he chose to betray me with. Everyone deserves to know the truth." Jason staggered toward me, eyes wild, hands outstretched. "Emily, wait please. I can explain." I pulled a folder from Daniel's briefcase and let it fall open in my hand. "Save it. You'll need your voice for court. This is a divorce agreement. You walk away with nothing, or I press charges for fraud." The crowd held its breath. Jason swayed, caught between rage and fear, between fight and collapse, and for the first time, I saw the truth, not the charming trainer I once fell in love with, but a desperate man exposed, stripped of every mask he'd ever worn. I thought Jason might finally disappear after that night. I'd handed him the papers, given him the choice: walk away with nothing or face court. But I underestimated his shamelessness. 2 days later, his face was all over social media. He'd written a long, weepy post, pages of it painting himself as the perfect husband crushed by his cruel, wealthy wife. He called me controlling, cold, impossible to please. He said I never forgave myself for losing the baby, so I turned my pain into punishment for him. He even dragged Grace into it, describing her as a poor single mom who only wanted a neighbor's kindness. Until I twisted it into something ugly, and people believed him. Comments flooded in. "Poor guy, married to a witch. She probably bought him, and now she's tossing him out like trash. No wonder he looked for comfort elsewhere. She sounds like a nightmare." My company's official page got spammed with insults, my inbox filled with hate. They called me bitter, barren, heartless. But instead of panicking, I smiled. Jason thought online sympathy would save him. He thought hashtags and sob stories were stronger than facts. He'd forgotten who I was. I picked up my phone. First call. The bank. Freeze every account and card under Jason Miller's name. Yes, even the ones I guaranteed, effective immediately. Second call. Daniel. He already knew what to do. Within hours, his law firm had delivered a letter to Jason's employer, the national fitness chain that had been Jason's golden ticket. Attached, the recordings, the transcripts, the video, proof that their star trainer wasn't just cheating, but conspiring to scam his wife out of millions. Image is everything in business. By that evening, the company released a statement cutting ties with Jason Miller, effective immediately, citing behavior inconsistent with our values. They added a demand for damages, an amount Jason could never pay in 10 lifetimes. Step 1. His money. Gone. Step 2. His job. Gone. Step 3. Public truth. Daniel's PR team rolled out the evidence across every major platform, not just the affair anyone could forgive an affair, but the manipulation, the financial plotting, the way he'd laughed about using my miscarriage as leverage. Screenshots, voice clips, video snippets, enough to drown his lies in his own words. The tide turned fast. Oh my God. This wasn't cheating, this was fraud. He planned to steal everything from her. He used her grief? What kind of monster does that? Lock him up. Don't let him walk away from this. On crumbled. Comment after comment called her what she was. Homewrecker, manipulator, using your kid as bait. Sick. Parents at her daughter's school complained. Her workplace was bombarded, and Grace, ever the survivor, did what she always did. She cut and ran. One night, she disappeared. Apartment emptied, phone disconnected. She left town with her daughter, carrying whatever cash and jewelry she'd scraped together. But most of it wasn't hers to keep. Courts froze the assets, traced the transfers. The money she thought she'd pocketed slipped right back through her fingers. As for Jason, with no job, no income, and his accounts frozen, he spiraled fast. The gym terminated his contract and demanded damages he couldn't dream of paying. The same fans who once called him Coach Jason now spat his name like a curse. He was broke, jobless, infamous, and his parents? The Millers had been so proud of their son, so smug in their comfort. Now, neighbors whispered every time they stepped outside. People who once smiled at them in the community center turned their backs. They packed up in shame, moving back to a run-down rental on the edge of town. His mother took to her bed, sick from stress. His father drank and cursed their fate, and Jason, he still wouldn't let go. He showed up outside my office one morning, kneeling on the sidewalk in the rain. His forehead hit the pavement over and over until it bled. His voice hoarse from begging, "Emily, please. I made a mistake. I'll change. I'll do anything. Don't leave me like this." I walked past him without slowing down. He wasn't my problem anymore. That week, the divorce papers went through. The judge didn't need much convincing. With the evidence stacked high, Jason walked away with nothing. Not the house, not the car, not a dime. When the gavel fell, I felt a weight lift I hadn't even realized I was still carrying. Outside the courthouse, Daniel was waiting. He handed me a bottle of water. Simple, steady. "It's over," he said. I looked up at the blue sky above us, took a long drink, and finally let myself smile. "No," I said softly. "It's not over. It's a beginning." The Cayenne went first. I couldn't stand to see it anymore. Parked in the driveway like a monument to betrayal, I signed the papers, sold it off, and watched the black SUV drive away for good. Then came the little things: Jason's gym clothes, the watch I'd once given him, the framed photos tucked away in drawers. All of it went into boxes, then straight to the trash. It wasn't anger, not anymore. It was release. For the first time in years, my house felt like mine. No lingering shadows, no stale perfume, no ghosts of promises that were never real. Just me, in a space I could breathe in again. Work thrived. Instead of crumbling under the scandal, my company grew stronger. Partners admired how I handled the chaos with precision, how I stayed steady when others might have collapsed. New contracts rolled in. My team looked at me with pride. But the biggest change wasn't outside, it was inside. I stopped apologizing for being strong. For years, I'd bent myself into shapes to make Jason comfortable, to keep his ego intact. I'd shrunk so he could feel bigger. I'd silenced my doubts so he could play the hero. Not anymore. Now, when I looked in the mirror, I saw a woman who had walked through fire and come out sharper, steadier, unshaken. Daniel showed up more often, sometimes with legal updates, sometimes just with coffee. He never pushed, never asked for more than I could give. He was just there, calm, solid, the kind of presence I'd forgotten men were capable of being. Maybe someday, I thought, maybe. But there was no rush, because for the first time, I wasn't waiting for someone else to make me whole. I already was. One evening, I stood by the window, city lights flickering in the distance, and I let the quiet wrap around me. No Jason, no drama, just peace. I realized then that everything I'd lost, the marriage, the illusion, even the child I'd once carried, had carved out space inside me. Space I could now fill with something better. Not bitterness, not fear, but freedom. And with that freedom, I stepped into the rest of my life stronger, wiser, and finally free. That's all for today's story. Thank you for listening. This is my channel. The tales I share, drawn from life or woven from imagination, are meant to offer you connection, reflection, and perhaps solace or newfound strength. If you long to see your own reflection in others' journeys, or seek a glimmer of light within the maze of emotions, subscribe to my channel. Listen with your heart. Explore the stories of life.